So here the Prophet ﷺ says, Antalidul amata rabbataha. When you find the slave has given birth to her master. There is no slavery today. But you find the daughters sort of ruling their mothers. And sad to say, the fathers are supporting the daughters. Sad to say. You find, because maybe your wife is not as career oriented as before, and the daughter has become much more educated, she sort of looks down on the mother, despises her, na'udhu billah. We have seen it in real life. This is one of the alamas of Qiyamah. Antalidul amata rabbataha. The daughter becomes the master of the mother. She does not respect her. With the boys, it was common to have a conflict between the father and the son. But the mother-daughter relationship is so sweet, it was not possible to bring conflict between them. But today it is happening. It is happening. The daughter is siding with the father whenever there's an argument between the husband and the wife. That's why you are told that whenever you have some issues with your spouse, don't bring it outside the bedroom. Don't let the kids know that you have conflicts. Always act with your spouse as she is your best friend. Remember, the day the children will walk away, they'll get married or they'll marry and have their own houses, you will be left with her and her only. Don't bring your private issues into the open. I have seen some spouses who have gone to that extent that they want to demean each other. Na'udhu billah. This one affects the children. Today, we are hearing of arsons in schools. A lot of the schools are being burnt, and we are asking ourselves, what seems to be happening? It happened some years back. And some of us were called to come and try and see what the issue was. You'll be amazed to know what the issue is. The main issue is that most of the women, because they become career women, they have left their houses in the hands of the housemaids. Now this child cannot be ordered by a maid around. He knows, the child knows this is a servant. So for 6-7 years, when that child is brought up by a servant who cannot dictate to him or her, this child, when they reach the age of teenage and the teachers or the principals try to dictate to them, they rebel. This is one of the main causes of arson. Because during teenage, a child physically has grown as an adult, but mentally he is still acting childish. But he wants to be treated as an adult. So when the teacher orders him around, he's like, who are you? My parents are paying fees. You are my servant. That is how the rebellion is coming about. The missing parents, because you've gone out to try and earn an income, either because of the equal women rights or because of inflation. You have left either by default and design, or you have no choice but to leave your house in the hands of a maid. So when this maid for 5-6 years brings up this child, and this child learns that there is no authority above me. So when you try to instill discipline and authority on that child, especially at teenage, because in secondary schools they are teenagers, then this child rebels. And when they rebel, they incite others. And they let out their anger by burning the schools. And they say, it's our property. Our fathers pay fees. So this is our property. This is a stupidity that most of us have never learned from. We strike against the government and we go and burn government buildings. But who pays for those government buildings? Your taxes. You go and burn your own thing. If you are so distressed, go and burn their personal cars and see what will happen to you. You will be killed on the spot. But when you go and burn buildings and offices during a strike, they will just throw tear gas to disperse you. Why? Because it's your own money. You'll pay for it through taxes. The same parents are now paying for the schools. So one of the main reasons is for us to focus on our families. Equal rights is not there. This is just a device to sort of mislead us. Islam has given equal rights to everyone. There's a difference between equal rights and equal status. The president is always the president, the deputy is always the deputy. You cannot expect the deputy to become the president. Equal status is never there. Equal rights, every human has the right to freedom and life and to be treated equally. But today, we are equating the men and women. We are not giving them equal rights. We are equating the men and women. We did the same with the girl child. And now we are saying, oh, the boy child has been forgotten. And now we are doing the same to the men. This feminism that they are talking about is wrong. It is in the wrong structure. And they call the male chauvinism despicable. Chauvinism is our right. It's not a bad word. Feminism is supposed to protect a woman in whatever status she is. But because we sort of value people in monetary terms, so we find that the housewives were contributing nothing when it came to monetary terms. So we sort of like now incited them and said, what are you bringing on the table? But today I ask you, I'm seated here. Clean clothes, ironed clothes, looking very healthy. But if I did not have a woman who used to take care of all these things, do you think it will be possible? But because we equated the housewives' contribution to monetary terms, that's why we went wrong. We should not value a human in the terms of money. So today, when we are seeing people going astray, it's because we are equating people, we are not giving them equal rights. And there are, mashallah, some women in the Western world who are standing up to this. Sad to say, our Muslim women have been misled into thinking that they have been oppressed. But there are some women in the Western world who are standing up and saying, what equal rights? I was better off sitting at home, being fed, given everything. All I had to do was just cook the food. The utensils were being washed by the maid. I was just supposed to breastfeed the child. What was so difficult? Now I go out to work. I still have to prepare breakfast. I still have to come in the evening and prepare dinner. I still have to be blissful for the conjugal rights at night. I am tired and stressed from the boss, from my co-workers, and I still have to come and deal with the stress of my husband. What have we gained? We have lost. We have not gained. In fact, we are now trying to juggle between our careers and our house life. Our mothers were very happy. Our grandmothers were very happy. They used to wake up long before us, prepare the breakfast, the shower, keep our uniforms ready. The whole day when we were away, they used to keep themselves busy. They used to knit and sew and crochet. And they used to make very nice things. When you come home to a happy woman. You come from your stress from the work, and you have a woman who receives you with joy, gives you a very nice cooked dinner, makes sure that you have your shower, you are relaxed. Now when you come home, you find a wife who is also stressed. You are stressed. The children come with a lot of homework. You are all stressed, and then you let out the anger on each other, and you have got the broken home. And shaitan is the happiest of all. In the hadith, in the riwayah, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, shaitan takes account of his deeds on a daily basis. Unlike us, we have got New Year's resolutions. He has a resolution on a daily basis. In the evening, he sits on his throne and calls out, what did you do? Oh, I misled so and so. What did you do? I tried to make such person go astray. One small imp comes and says, I made the husband and wife fight. It is in the riwayah, Hadeeth, Bukhari. And shaitan stands up and sits him on his throne and said, you have done everything. You have attacked the basis of society. When the mother and father are fighting, the children are watching. When the children are watching, they later become society. They're the ones who are going to burn the schools. You have attacked the root of humanity. You have made the husband and wife fight. It affects the children become society, and the society becomes the country, and everything goes astray. So I would like to tell those people, even if you have got a career, these days, mashallah, everything is online. Do not sacrifice your life and your family for a career. What does a career give you? A promotion and a salary? Your husband can do that. He can provide. If need be, make sure you work such that you do not sacrifice your family hours. Oh, but Sheikh, we have family time. When? On the weekends. What do? You go out, especially for the non-Muslims. You go and sit, the husband and wife, they are drinking and having their nyamachoma, and the children are playing, and you say that is family time. That is not family time. That is leisure. Family time is when you sit down and ask your child, how was your day? These children like to be asked, especially when they are still growing up. If you are going to ask them these small things and give them attention, when they grow up as teenagers, they will come to you. Otherwise, if you ignore them with these small issues as they grow up, when they become teenagers, they will not come to you with the big issues. They will go to their friends. A 14-year-old consulting with another 14-year-old. A teenager consulting with a teenager. One is a fool, one is a blind person. One doesn't have outer sight, one doesn't have inner sight. It's like a fool trying to lead a blind man, or vice versa. So that is what is happening. Give time to your family by consulting, asking your wife how her day was, asking your children how they feel, what they need, what are their careers, what are they interested in. Attend the parents' day in school. Go for their vaccination when they are small. I have learnt one secret. The World Health Organization has a directive that if the father comes with a child, he will not queue. I used to go to every clinic with my children, and I used to go direct. And they used to say, why are you wearing this one? Is it because it's a muindi? I said, no. It's because he knows the World Health Organization directive that says if any man comes with a child, he will not queue. The mother goes with the child from 6 o'clock in the morning up to 12 or 2 o'clock is when now she gets the vaccination for the child. You as a father, when you go for that vaccination, you jump the queue, in 5 minutes you're done. It was to try and encourage the fathers to take up their roles. Parents' Day meeting, you see just the women are there, the men are not there. Ask yourself, even during our father's time, this is what we are supposed to avoid. When the child sees you have got an interest, on the Parents' Day you are there, on the collection of report forms you are there, on the vaccination you are there, they start asking, what is going on? When the child is born, you know, when someone is going through grief, you hug him. Do you know what that hug does? There's a beat inside you and him. And that beat of the heart is the one which connects. And if you have managed to make sure that during childhood, that one day infant, you always put him on your heart. When that child grows up, he will not go looking for the mother, he will go looking for you. Ask the fathers who do it. Most people say, oh, the children run to the mother. It's because the mother is always breastfeeding. That heartbeat is connected psychologically. But you as a father, if you always put, after the breastfeeding, you bump the child to release the gas, that connection will be there. That child will come looking for you as a teenager. And you'll come and tell me, because psychologically it has been proven that the heartbeat connects. I talked about the Middle East and said it is going to the dogs. Because the hadith says, أن ترى العراة أن ترى الحفاة العراة العالات رعاء الشاة يتتاولون في البنيان. You will see people who used to walk half naked, scantily dressed, with no shoes, bare feet, shepherds, building the Burj Khalifa. And now the Saudi is building another one. You'll find people who are poor, who did not have enough to eat, and who are rearing sheep, overnight becoming rich and trying to outdo each other by building tall buildings. Of what use is the Burj Khalifa? You have to pay, I don't know, $50 or $100 just to go up there and see. Subhanallah. All that money that they wasted. And another secret that I tell you is that there was a gamble between the engineer and one of the architects, that I will build a cross inside this Burj Khalifa, and he has done it. If you go from aerial view, you can see that cross. Of what use is it? You only build when you've made sure that your people are not going hungry. Leave them. Ask ourselves here. Today we are building masjid for 400 million, 500 million, 1 billion. Ask yourself, if we had put this money together and built one hospital, the Coptics have their hospital, the Catholics have their hospital, the Hindus have their hospital, the Aga Khanis have their hospital. Where is the hospital for Muslims? Or we will go to Kenyatta. Kenyatta is not a hospital. If we had just built one hospital with 1 billion shillings that we built the masajid for, I'm not saying that the masajid are a waste of money, but we only build masajid of 400 million when we have a hospital and a school that belongs to Muslims. Because the most expensive thing in a hospital is the machinery, the X-ray, the cancer equipment, the dialysis equipment. If we had a hospital with all those items inside, and we went round to the Muslims that I want your sadaqah of just 1,000 shillings per month, just 1,000 shillings, and you get 1,000 Muslims who will be contributing 1,000 shillings, that is 1,000,000 shillings per month. And then you have a system whereby anyone who cannot afford medicine can go through that system. Or the zakah. Once you have the machinery, the only thing that that person is supposed to buy is the medicine. And if you cannot afford, let's have a system for that. The most that that person will be spending will be the doctor's fees. But we have not got our priorities right. A 400 million masjid, when you go and look at it, it hardly fits even 1,000 people. And you ask, oh, because there was an underground parking. But who told you that we need an underground parking? Are we becoming like the Christians, that those with cars can visit a certain masjid? If you go to the Christian churches, there are certain churches you cannot visit if you don't have a car. Do you want to go that way? So let us leave them alone. We have got money here, but we are not getting our priorities right. And it's not too late. Even now, we Muslims can come together and say, we want to buy a certain piece of land out of Nairobi and make a grade 4 or grade 5 hospital there. Put all the machinery there. It might take us 10 years. But after 10 years, our Muslim brothers will be doing dua for us and saying, oh Allah, what will have cost me $1 million, I'm spending only 10,000 today. Why? Because when you have got the machinery for free. Because most of these private hospitals are trying to recover the money that they invested in the machinery. To operate the machinery is not so expensive. It is the machinery itself. So it's time for us to get our priorities right. So this is just one alama, that people who are totally desperate, poor, shepherds, overnight they became rich. And the way I had talked in climate change, that today we are attacking fossil fuels and plastic bottles. But I'm doing a deep research and asking myself, fossil fuels, where are they coming from? The Middle East. Plastic, where is it coming from? The Middle East. Oh, because it cannot be recycled. But even glass cannot be recycled. Do you know that? Even glass cannot be recycled. Why are we using glass bottles and not plastic bottles? It's because right now, those who are ruling us are trying to make sure that the Arab world with their resources are sort of isolated, because they have found out that the Muslim Ummah is waking up. The sleeping tigers are waking up. So they are taking away our resources. I am still doing my research. I have not yet concluded it. But I find that there is some naughtiness, there's some mischief in climate change. It is not as the way they give it to us. Subhanakallah bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wa sallallahu ala khayri khalqi Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.